Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to be looking at the McFarlane DC Multiverse Nekron Megafigure. Now, I ordered this figure from the McFarlane toy store, and he's finally here today. A McFarlane Megafigure is essentially a 7-inch scale figure that's too large to fit in traditional packaging. They're around about $40, and they're usually freaking awesome. You can see this guy comes with his Scythe, so he's already way ahead of the old Mattel version. So let's go check the packaging. As you can see at the top, ages 12 plus, DC Multiverse Nekron. Here he is in the package. Looks like we have a collector's card, display stand, and his Scythe. One side, we've got Nekron from Blackest. Other side simply says Nekron. At the bottom, got a bunch of credits, and there is a barcode, in case that helps anybody. And in the back, here's Nekron from Blackest the comic. Fantastic figure, fantastic packaging. So no further ado, let's open him up. And like I said before, I got this guy from the McFarlane toy store. I got the bundle with Bane, Talon, and Nekron. Between that and the coupon code, ends up being about retail price after shipping. Alright, now that I got this figure out of the package, here he is with all his accessories laid out. He comes with a large Scythe, a collector's card, and a display stand. But before we take a look at those, let's talk about and check out the actual figure. So this is Nekron, a dark entity as old as time itself. Nekron is known as the Lord of the Unliving. As a physical manifestation of death, he can summon the dead to serve him. He's kind of the opposite of death. They look similar. The Scythe, black outfit, but death kills people. Nekron brings it back to life. He gives people black lantern rings and reanimates dead corpses. The first one was a guy who's called Black Hand. I wish I had the DC Direct figure of him. It's a cool figure, cool accessories, and it would go great with Nekron. I don't have any of the Blackest DC Direct stuff, and now that McFarlane's doing this, I really wish I did. That being said, Nekron's a mega figure. He's super tall, and he looks amazing. I almost feel like he's a little bit too tall, but he is big in the source material. So let's take a look at him. Start with his head here. He's got his logo here, sort of Black Lantern logo. He's like a skull, almost like a zombie. Face looks fantastic. He'd be a great figure for horror scenarios, fighting against magical opponents like Spawn and Constantine. He has collar around his neck. You can see the texturing on his sort of robe, and of course, the big hole in his chest. You can see his heart. It's a black heart. Reminds me of that DC Direct, Arkham City Solomon Grundy. Got some wrap down his hands, double jointed elbows, double jointed knees. Hood hanging down, looks nice. He's got that robe similar to Death, Grim Reaper. Guess he's got pants on, boots on. Looks amazing. An excellent villain for the DC universe. And just a closer look at his face and head sculpt. Amazing. He looks scary, grotesque. I love it. They did an excellent job with this guy. Now let's take a look at his accessories, and let's start off with the boring stuff. Here's his display stand. Typical McFarlane stand. Black perfect circle. Says to DC on the bottom. It's got one peg with the peg holes on his feet. Very thin, very basic. Now let's check out his collector's card. It's an image of Nekron from the comics fighting the Justice League. Nekron from Blackest. On the back side, there is a description. If you want to read that, go ahead and pause now. Then, of course, we have a Scythe. And McFarlane was really smart for including a Scythe. Mattel was chastised by the fans for having this Build-A-Figure Nekron and not including his Scythe, which is a huge part of the character. It is long, very large. You see the blade up here, kind of metal up top, and it's got this very long wooden handle. Detailing is very nice. Here's Nekron holding his Scythe, holding it over his shoulder. And even though he's only really got one traditional gripping hand, You can't have him holding this thing with both hands. Now they've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories. Now let's check out his height, and he is a big boy. From bottom to the top of his head, standing at about 10 inches tall, which is going to translate to about 25.5 centimeters. Now let's check out his articulation. Start with his head here. Of course, it can rotate from side to side. You can look up about that far, down about that far. Can't tilt his head from one side to the other, giving him a good amount of personality. Shoulders, a ball joint, goes out a little bit more than 90 degrees. Up, down, around, all that good stuff. He doesn't have that typical butterfly joint, but it's all covered up with his robe. Bicep cut below that. Mine is a little bit stuck, very tight. Double jointed elbows, they go all the way in. His wrist, and it's not done with the ball joints, the better, newer style. You can rotate. It's hinged as well. Torso here feels like it's one solid piece. There's no articulation that would really mess up the sculpt. But his waist here, you can rotate, ball joint, forward and back. Pretty good range of motion, kind of lean from side to side. Legs, not ball joints, but a similar type concept. Very restricted by his robe, although you can push out of the way. Rotation is non-existent. Go forward about that far, back, not too much. Double jointed knees below that. Then his ankle here, forward and back, rotation, tilt, rock, and toe articulation. Here's Nekron in a graveyard cemetery type setting. He's got his black lanterns with him. He's on the attack, ready to add to his ranks. And back the camera a little bit. Here's a look at the entire setup I made. Now let's check them out next to some other action figures, starting off with some other McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here's Nekron next to the 3 Black Lanterns from the Blackest Nightwave. These are reanimated corpses of Batman, Superman, and Firestorm. Here he is next to Atrocitus from Blackest Night. Here's the entire Blackest Night collection by McFarlane Toys. We've got the Build-A-Figure wave, Collect and Build Atrocitus, and now Nekron, all from Blackest Night. I'm not aware of anything else upcoming, but I'd welcome anything for that story. They're all visually very cool. Here's Nekron next to the Death Metal Batman. Death Metal Batman is also a Black Lantern. Batman had died and was resurrected using a Black Lantern ring. Here's Nekron next to Bane. These are the 2 figures in the most recent assortment of Mega figures. And I got Nekron and Bane in a bundle from the McFarlane Toy Store that included Talon. And here he is next to the previous wave of Mega figures. This is Atom Smasher and Sabak from the Black Adam movie. Before that, they released the Arkham Asylum Killer Croc and the Rebirth Man-Bat. Here's Nekron next to Clayface and Titan Joker. Nekron might be tall, but nowhere near as tall as Titan Joker. And here he is next to all 3 variations of Swamp Thing. Before that, they gave us a Walmart exclusive Mega figure version of King Shark. Then, next to the first wave of Mega figures, Steppenwolf and Darkseid from Zack Snyder's Justice League. Here are all the different Mega figures from McFarlane's DC Multiverse line. Can't wait to see what's next. Now let's check him out next to some other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here he is next to the first wave of Page Punchers. And I still need to get the Walmart exclusive Black and White Black Adam. Then, next to the recent Black Adam movie wave, here's Nekron next to the previous group of figures I got from the McFarlane Toy Store. Future State Superman, Infinite Frontier Scarecrow, and the New 52 Static Shock. Then, next to the Walmart exclusive Gold Label, Azrael Batman Armor, and Parallax Hal Jordan. Here's Nekron next to Martian Manhunter, both the Classic and Rebirth. And here he is next to the Target exclusive Crime Syndicate, Ultraman, Superwoman, and Owlman. Then, with the McFarlane Toy Store exclusive Gold Label paint variants of the Arkham Knight Scarecrow and Arkham Knight Red Hood. And here, with both versions of the Future State Dark Detective Batman. And now, next to all 3 versions of Lex Luthor in his power suit, here's Nekron next to Duke Thomas from Tales from the Dark Multiverse, and the Batman Who Laughs, still dressed as Batman. And here, with both versions of the Zur-En-Arrh Batman, and all 3 versions of the Infinite Frontier Robin. Then, with the Batman vs. Hush 2-pack. Then, next to the single version of Hush. And here, next to the Ghostmaker. And now, with Grifter and the Arkham Knight. Here's Nekron, next to the Tim Drake Red Robin and the John Kent Superboy. Here's Nekron, next to a DC Direct Arkham City Solomon Grundy. Solomon Grundy has a chest that removes. He has a ribcage exposed and his heart, very similar to Nekron. And look at the size of this guy. Talk about a mega figure. Nekron here's outfit reminds me of the Batman Who Laughs, or Hellraiser. I assume they shop at the same store. Since Nekron is an expert at death and reanimating corpses, here he is, next to a bunch of DC zombies from Deceased. Joker, Batman, Green Lantern, and Aquaman. Then, next to the second wave of DC's figures by DC Direct, Flash, Harley Quinn, Superman, and Supergirl. And here, with the third series of DC's figures, Batgirl, Nightwing, Red Hood, and Deathstroke. Here's Nekron, next to a couple of zombie cops from Resident Evil. And here, with some Mattel wrestling zombie figures. Now let's check him out, next to some Mega figures from other McFarlane lines. Here he is, with all the Spawn Mega figures, Violator, Cygor, Manga Spawn, Overkill, and Bloody Violator. And here, with the McFarlane Witcher Mega figures. On the left, from the video game, and on the right, from the TV series. Then, with both Fezzik figures from Princess Bride. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, to see how he fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane figure, they're typically the 7-inch scale, although this guy is quite a bit larger than 7 inches. He'll fit in with any line, as long as you want a large, oversized, monster zombie type thing. We're going to start off our comparisons with some of the large action figure lines I collect, and work my way smaller. But first, let's check him out with some of his McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale. Then, with some more McFarlane Toys. These are from different various video game properties. And now, with some Jack-specific wrestling figures. And here he is, next to some DST, or Diamond Select Toys. Then, with some DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures. And here he is, standing next to some NECA figures. Then, next to some Mattel wrestling figures. And now, with some Jazzwares AEW wrestlers. And here he is, next to some Mezco 112 collective figures. Then, with some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures. And here he is, with some Mafex figures. Then, with some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And here he is, next to some SH Figure Arts action figures. And finally, next to some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. Overall, he's a fantastic figure. The sculpt is excellent. This guy looks gruesome and terrifying. Sculpt and paint job, no problems there. His articulation is everything you'd expect from a McFarlane DC Multiverse figure. They did a pretty good job of allowing his legs to move, even with that big robe. His accessory, he came with a scythe. Thank you, it's about time. If I had to rate this guy, I'm going to give him a solid 8 out of 10. Enjoying him a lot more than I expected, as I'm mostly into the Batman-related characters. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say with the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.